Hey there, Shortcuts. This is Stephen here, and this is the first list for our new week this week. Sorry, it's a day late. I took the evening off yesterday, so I had a good bank holiday Monday. I'm putting the list together now. Firstly, as a reminder, check out the email later to see which of you from last week won the Chuck Berry sealed Chess Records 75th anniversary edition. So this is the new list, and what I've done this week is I have put together really a kind of collection of just great Shortcuts classics. There's a few new things, but there's a lot of familiar faces here. And for those of you who maybe haven't filled these gaps in your collections, this is a really good opportunity to do so. There's lots of really nice records here. This price list will go out at 9 o'clock, and I'm just going to say that the new mailing system seems to send the emails, even though I select 9 o'clock, it seems to send the emails about 9:05, 9:06, because they're all checked. I don't know. So recommend checking your emails through to kind of 9:05, 9:06. So the last few weeks have been pretty consistently 9:06. It's random. I've emailed them. There's nothing much I can do about it. But they will be there and they will be complete. Okay, so this is the rock and pop list, and it's primarily kind of classic rock, actually, with lots and lots of interesting things. This is an old friend that we've had a few times in the last little while. I'm just going to start here again. This is the Japanese first press of Sticky Fingers, of course, with the working, can I show it working? The working zipper, can you see that? Now, it's interesting. I've actually got two copies of this, both slightly different presses. So one is the ASS 63001 press, which is the one I have on my shelf, which I absolutely love. And this is the first press, which is catalog number P8091S. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's the first press. I will check before Wednesday. So I have two copies. Now, these are going to be cheaper than any copies that I have put up for this record ever before. And that's just because, for whatever reason, when the folks in Shinjuku put them in the box, they put them in at cheaper than they normally do for this record, and I'm just passing it on. And so I think normally this record's around 140. I think on Wednesday it's going to be 110, so it's going to be a lot cheaper. So if you haven't picked up, by the way, both of those, those Japanese presses are the best sounding versions of that record I've ever heard, and it's one of my favorites, and I've heard quite a few. All right, let's move on. Now, this is a record I have had, I think, only once before. It is really hard to find. It is the Japanese first press of Dire Straits' Alchemy. This is on the hard cardboard gatefold with the inner. So this is just really hard, really well held in the hand. People just don't want to let it go. It's in magnificent condition, honestly, beautiful condition. A little bit of fading on the sleeve, a little bit, just a bit of fading here in the corners. But other than that, beautiful condition. Weighs a ton. Dire Straits, Alchemy. I think that, I think the thing about this record that's really interesting is the songs, even though the studio versions are often pretty breathy and airy, even on this live setting, they go even further into kind of, really wild territory. And it's a lot of contrast, a lot of quiet loud in its own kind of Dire Straits way. But yeah, interesting record. This is one I have never had before. I was kind of surprised to see it in the box, to be honest. It's the Dio Intermission mini LP from, I think it's 1986. Let me just check. Japanese press, 1986. All lyrics and melodies by Ronnie James Dio. So I'll figure out a bit more about this record between then. It's got a little bit of a ding just here. Um, but this is, I think, predominantly, well, it's not completely live from what I can see, but I think there are some live bits of this. And it's really nice. Also on the same Vertigo label as Dire Straits. Maybe that's why they chucked it in. I don't know. It's unusual to see it there. I've never. I think I've only ever had Sacred Heart by Dio before. So this is yeah, it's an interesting artifact. That one for those of you who love that sort of kind of stuff. Now this is by far and away my favorite record in the list. This is again hard cardboard gatefold. This is Makeup by the Flower Travelin band. This is the Japanese first press on hard cardboard gatefold. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of the Flower Travelin band, they are absolute royalty with the Japanese in terms of heavy rock and kind of psychedelic music. They, really were trailblazers from kind of the late 60s through to pretty much the mid 70s and produced classics such as Satori, which is often cited as the greatest psych rock album ever made by a Japanese band. And so you definitely have this kind of proto metal heft, and really an international ambition. They have an international following, and so this is a band that kind of mixes Sabbath in with kind of weird little Japanese kind of protocols. It's very, very, very cool. And, often people are surprised when they hear them. They've got a prog element to them as well. I really like this double record. It's all over the place, completely wild recording. The vinyl isn't quite as kind of near mint as some records that I've got from Shinjuku. I think probably closer to VG Plus, but it's still really nice. Really, a few tiny little hairlines, lovely condition, total psych rock classic. And again, because the Japanese sent it to me at a very good price, it will be way cheaper than Discogs. Okay, a couple of classics to come. Absolute Shortcuts royalty, the hard cardboard gatefold of Harvest, Neil Young, 1972, the Japanese press with the posters and everything. I've heard so much positive feedback about the Japanese copies of that record, and it's an album that completely endures. This is an album that is really popular with Shortcuts, and I really like that because I think this is an unheralded Rolling Stones release. This is Goat's Head Soup with the Obi. I think the first time I've seen it with an Obi. Now I'm just going to check that it has the poster, and it does, which is great. So there's the Goat's Head Soup. So this is a fantastic copy. And I just really like this record. Dancing with Mr. D, Coming Down Again, Angie. A lot to like with Goat's Head Soup. And I know a lot of you out there are with me on that. So there you have it. Goat's Head Soup with OB. Okay, a couple of other kind of classics to go. Another hard cardboard gatefold. This time it is the magnificent Hotel California press. And this also comes with the poster, which is, of course, the kind of triptych of the band. So very, very nice. And again, really reasonably priced. I think this will be $35, which is outrageous really for a record of such high quality. Now here's one I haven't had. I double checked. I haven't had this for years. Again, this is a Japanese hard cardboard gatefold, but this is the first press of Electric by The Cult. Lovely condition. There's the record on the, I think is it Baker's Banquet they were on? I can't remember now. But, the closest this band ever got to pure AC/DC riffage is Electric. I think most of you will know that record. If you don't, just put it on as loud as you can. I mean, it's kind of weird that this band got to this sound because, you listen to their original records like the Southern Death Cult, and they're kind of a trippy kind of psych band, and then all of a sudden, now, thankfully, the folks in Shinjuku have been sending me loads of these recently, which is great. The P10125A, I think the best ever Japanese press of Zep 4 with the OB in absolutely beautiful condition. Another hard cardboard gatefold. Now this is a little bit different though, because this is like an envelope fold out, and this is the Japanese first press of Honky Chateau. Many of, in fact, I've had some emails saying, do you have Honky Chateau? This is, I think, one of his more cult albums, but, oh, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Baking powder. It has its fans, and I think it's because it has its very particular sound. Now, the Japanese press came with the magazine, and that's all present and correct here. I reckon, I don't know if this is completely top tier Elton, but I would put it in my top 5 for sure. Interested to hear any top 5s from any of you who fancy putting it in the comments. All right. I've raved for years about how good the Japanese presses of the Police are. This is Zenyatta Mondata, the AMP 28011. And then something I've never had. And again, I saw it in the crate. I was like, what the hell? This is the best of the Zombies. Now, I had to actually go and do a bit of research on the Zombies. I didn't really know them. So they're from St Albans in England, and I suppose having listened to a few of the tracks while walking the dog earlier, one of the more kind of elegant, let's call them British invasion bands. And this lead singer, Colin Blunstone, had this really cool, airy voice with Rod Argent on keyboard, and he then went on to form his own band. And so this is a really interesting record. It's the Japanese first press of this record, so it doesn't have an inner. You can see everything's on the back. She's not there. Tell her no. She's coming home. Time of the season, I suppose. Couple of tracks are mono. Japanese obviously loved this band. You can see here cover art by Kazutaka Sugioki, and so this would have been done just for the Japanese market. So they obviously were pretty well liked. So there you go. Any Zombies fans out there? Anyone want to tell me what I should be listening to next? Because they have totally passed me by. All right, talking about hard cardboard gatefolds, this is probably the greatest press in many ways of the Beatles. Sergeant Pepper, all inserts present and correct. The ESS 80558, which I'm pretty sure is the 1976 press. Well, they all sound great. Maybe the most famous Shortcuts royalty album, the Japanese first press of Fleetwood Mac's Tusk. I often use this record in my listening room when someone says, play me something on Japanese violin, and I will often play something from this because I think it is wonderful. And I think it is by a mile Fleetwood Mac's best album. All right, something completely different. This I'm pretty sure I've never had before, and I had to look this up too. This is an album called Sort Of by a band called Slap Happy. So a kind of a art pop project, kind of European, international band, and kind of mixing avant pop and kind of satirical. This came out in 1972. From what I can see, I think this is their debut album, and this is the Japanese first press. Now, this looks to be pretty rare and really quite hard to find, the Japanese press. This is in lovely condition, as you can see. It just looks great. And they sent to me at a really good price. So someone who likes this type of 70s psychedelia is going to find themselves, I think, pretty happy with what this is. And yeah, again, interesting record. Now, this is Country Life, Roxy Music. That first 5 Roxy Music albums from the early 70s is as good a run of 5 records as has ever been done. I think that is indisputable. Brian Ferry, Andrew McKay, Paul Thompson, Phil Manzanera. By this point, Brian Eno had flown the coop, but this is the record that features the thrill of it all, which I think is... They were brilliant at opening tracks on albums. I mean, just go to any of the first 5. The opening tracks are awesome. But this one's got Triptych, which is where, you know, things got seriously weird. Love how these Japanese records sound. Couple more classics. I've got a really nice copy of Bruce's The River and a Japanese first press of Carole King's Tapestry, which, as a reminder, comes in hard cardboard but has this beautiful inner of the tapestry, as you do. I've been playing this record a lot because I got like folks in Shinjuku sent me a audio file 2 times 45 RPM version from a while back, and the second track on this album, So Far Away, is it called So Far Away? Yeah, So Far Away. So Far Away, I think, is one of the most perfectly crafted pop songs I have ever heard. It is perfect. Right, well, on that note, I'm going to sign off and get the next list ready. I've got a really interesting, diverse list of kind of jazz and blues for the genre list. So, yeah, sign into that. As always, like, comment, and let me know if these videos are worthwhile. And again, congratulations to whoever won Chuck Berry. If you would like to receive this list and buy some of these records, drop me an email, stephen@shortcutsrecords.com.au, or look in the in the comments or in the details below, and you'll see a form link. Over and out.